Welcome back to The Full Perspective. This is Eddie Hart, always alongside Alex Andretta, and today we have a special guest in the building, Tyler Drevitch, a.k.a. Drevy, what I call him and all the homies call him. Drevy, how are you, bro?
I'm doing well. It's good to see you guys. It's been a long time.
Yeah. I'll do the bragging for you, and we'll jump into your story in a second. But Drevy, collegiate hockey player at Merrimack College. Former captain there and played in the Hockey East Conference, which in my opinion, and I think it's a good way of putting it, is probably the SEC of college hockey, the best conference in the country. Played there for 4 years, and then now you're a part of the Wheeling Nailers in the Pittsburgh Penguins organization.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, over in West Virginia.
Yeah, a little East Coast Hockey League.
Jungle.
That ECHL?
ECHL, yeah.
ECHL?
They actually changed the league name. It's still the ECHL, but it's the East Coast Hockey League. Nope, I'm messing that up. It is ECHL.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can't call it the East Coast Hockey League anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Why?
It doesn't stand for that, but the league's called the ECHL.
Yeah. And are you in NHL 22, the video game?
I am. Yeah.
You are. What's your overall?
Funny thing. So we
You don't have to exaggerate about it. I just wanted. I didn't even think about this until you just came on.
I don't know the actual rating. I think I'm like in the low or mid 50s, which is like
That's
a
not
normal
bad,
coast. I think
honestly.
they just randomize it. But we get bored out there, so we play a lot of cello. Me and my two other buddies, when we do like franchise mode, we make each other like we edit each other. We don't make each other 100 overall, but we make ourselves like 80s so we can play on the team.
So you're 50. So are you the lowest overall in the game?
No. There's lower guys.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
There are
kidding.
lower guys.
I'm just kidding.
It's gotta be
I might
lower,
sneak
guys.
in the 60s. I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually got an upgrade after my first year, so we'll see how year 3 goes.
You ever
Yeah.
just hop on alone? You're like, I'm gonna hit this shootout real quick.
Yeah.
And
He's playing like my player. He's like, boys, I'm up to a 91, eh?
Just got signed 10 million in 5 years.
Yeah.
No, I can't say I've done that one, but we have a super fan. I should probably give him a shout out. Bingo Bob back in Wheeling.
Yeah.
I'll get he DMs us all the time, and I love answering him because he's so passionate about it. But at the end of the year, we got a picture, and he played as the Wheeling Nailers. It must have been on rookie mode. I don't know. Either that or he's really good at Chell. I had like 183 goals, 400 assists. The team went undefeated.
That's
unbelievable.
That's unreal.
So
that is sick.
You gotta play every game. You can't sim that, bro.
No.
You gotta play every game.
No, he's 7.
he's dedicated. He's dedicated.
Yeah.
He's,
Shout out to him.
shout out Bingo.
That's awesome. And how long have you been with them?
Going on year 3.
Year 3. So hopefully you'll get like the 10-year or 10 million 5-year deal as a 91 overall in NHL and like NHL 27. That's the goal,
That's the
right?
long-term plan.
Yeah, long-term plan.
Yeah. But obviously we got a lot to unpack here, and we want to hear about your story. But for those of you who are watching, and if you're just listening, we can speak on it. New clothing line for you. Founder of the clothing line called Derva. I have the hat on right now, and me and Dretta were lucky enough to get a couple sweatshirts, and I must say I'm a huge hat guy, and this is like a dope hat. Like I will wear this like out all the time. It's like a sweet snapback, nice logo, Derva on the back. But before we get into your story, I wanted you to sort of tell everybody and tell us about your company, what it means, the backstory behind it, and everything we need to know.
Yeah, so it actually started around Christmas time last year. I've always loved fashion. I always felt like especially in high school, I wasn't the best, well dressed. I always dressed like an athlete. So as I got older, especially in college, going out and whatnot, I always wanted to look good and try different outfits out and whatnot. And while I was doing that, I've always wanted to give back and find a connection to other people outside of hockey. I am very grateful for hockey, but as I've gotten older, I've realized there's a lot more to life than just, playing puck. So I wanted to come out with a clothing brand that I could stand behind. So basically, Derva is a nickname I got in college that has stuck pretty hard here since I think it was junior year. I think every guy I play with calls me that.
Yeah, I know a couple of things about a nickname that sticks forever. So
Dretta.
I feel you.
There you go.
Well, I'm surprised Drevy didn't stick. Derva is the new.
What happened was I played with my brother. So when my brother came in, I don't know why, because I'm the older brother, but they started calling him Drevy and me Derva. So it
Gotcha.
worked out. I didn't hate it. I liked it. And so anyways, I came out with a clothing brand, and I wanted to come out with a brand. The reason I called it Derva, I came out with so many, brainstorming so many different name ideas and whatnot. in the most humble way I can say it, I consider myself a very unique person. Very outgoing, like extremely outgoing. I like meeting people. I like taking risks. I like being spontaneous. And I like just putting myself out there, and I'm not afraid to show my true colors and talk about my feelings and talk about what's going on in my life. And I'm very proudful of that. So I want to come out with a brand that you can feel comfortable being the best version of you, because I feel like I'm constantly challenging myself to be the best version of myself. So I hope that, when someone puts on the hoodie or the hat and you wear it out, you have the confidence to either take that risk you didn't want to take, or have that confidence to be the true person you want to be inside, and not hold it in and put up this wall that, I feel like a lot of people do, and I'm sure I've done it at some point in my life. So, and on top of that, I'm a huge supporter with Movember. I've been doing that for years. I always grow the mustache out in November and do a little donation page. So I actually donate 10% of my proceeds to Movember.
Love it.
For those who don't know, what is Movember?
So Movember is a charitable organization that supports men's health and mental health. But as I've done more research, it seems like, honestly, yes, that's what they're aiming to support, but it's for anyone. I know a lot of women that are very supportive in it. So it was something that I feel like at the time when I discovered it in college, I felt like it didn't have, as males, there's that stigma for a while that, we had to be tough and quiet and all that.
Yeah.
So when I came across Movember and kind of what they stood for, it was something that I, wanted to get behind, and I've been doing it for a while now, and I'm really happy about it. It's also, they're really easy with me, like helping me. I just make a page and people can donate to it. So it's very simple. So it's been very grateful, and I wanted to give back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always,
Dude, that is awesome.
Yeah, it's always refreshing to have a brand that has meaning behind it. So congratulations.
Yeah,
it's very
thanks,
awesome.
guys. I appreciate it.
And we just talked about men's health like that, like last pod, talking about Patty.
Yep,
And
Patty
his
the
friend.
Baddie.
Yeah, Patty the Baddie, UFC fighter, who spoke after his fight.
Yeah.
And said, I'd rather have my friend cry on my shoulder than go to his funeral the next day.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Of course, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think this is that, to your point, I think we're similar in the aspect of this podcast too, is I would say in the category of, and I know we put it in the category on Apple Podcasts and Spotify of mental health, because a lot of people who have came in here, and I'm sure that we are going to have in here, is just to have a real authentic conversation and talk about and get the full perspective of people that you don't get from like a press conference. Because to be honest, you're not going to sit on the mic after a hockey game and talk about, shit that could be on your mind. You're going to say team this, team that, I played this, played that. But this in a whole is sort of to that mental health aspect of allowing people to release and us to talk about things that, often don't go unsaid. And for you and to have that into your brand, that's awesome, dude. And,
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. And one more thing I'll say, fashionable, giving back, and a brother, we got to support it. So Derva clothing line, everybody.
Yeah, you can go to the website, dervahq.com. We have our Instagram, dervahq. And we're working on, reaching more people, whatnot. So I'm a one-man crew, so it's been definitely a work in progress, but we'll be growing slowly and correctly.
Yeah, let's jump into more of the early stages of your hockey career.
Okay.
Let's take it way back to, let's start around Middleborough High School.
All right.
Right? Because I know you didn't play for the actual high school team. You played Bandits, correct?
I did, yeah.
So and that was juniors.
Junior team, yeah. So it's different now because of how things have changed in the hockey world. But when we were growing up in high school, you either went USHL, NA, but even then, back then, you wouldn't do that in high school. You would go prep school, you play for your high school. Some kids would play juniors, but if you were in that top tier of players, you'd play junior B hockey. Mm-hmm. So our league in junior B had Jack Eichel, Connor Garland, Steve Santini, Alex Tuck, all these NHL guys that are now somewhere.
Yeah.
That normally where today they all play U18 or U16 or prep school or USHL and stuff like that. So I played juniors for the Bandits for 4 years between the junior B and junior A team. Honestly, didn't have a huge impact on my high school, to be honest. I had one time a teacher get mad at me because he assumed I was on the hockey team. So when I would fall asleep in class, he would, give me, hey, don't worry about it, because the high school team at Middleborough practice at 6 a.m. Well, I just never denied that I wasn't on the team. I just kind of went along with it.
Well, you weren't lying.
I wasn't lying.
You just didn't say anything.
Take what you get,
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I had friends on the hockey team, and I mean, my dad coached the team. I don't know if that had something to do with it, but I honestly don't think so. I think I just had friends that they understood where I was with hockey, and that was the route I wanted to take. Looking back, I'm sure I made the right decision, but would I've liked to play at least 1 year? 100%. I think that would have been so much fun. And even like senior year was hard because like there's no going back to that point because of where my career was at. But my brother was a freshman, so like that was our first opportunity to play together because we were never in a position to play on the same team. And there was like he was thinking about playing for the high school team that freshman year, so like obviously as an older brother, you never get to play with your brother, but you always dream of it, like since we were kids. So that crossed my mind, but no, never got the opportunity to play for high school and just played junior hockey. It honestly helped me mature as a player, I think. A little bit as a person, but I was still that high school kid at heart. But playing with kids that mostly were 20 years old, some 19, it just put me into like the shoes of like I'm experiencing certain things in life that like a lot of high schoolers were not experiencing for years to come. Which for me, honestly, I thought I handled pretty well. I was able to balance, my hockey life and my social life in high school. And part of that was like I played tennis in high school. And in that regard, I had a whole separate group of friends. I was in the student council, which I tell people and they all like kind of make fun of me, but I was really prideful of that. I enjoyed it. But like that's what like all my friends and I did. We all did student council.
A lot of people did. That was like a thing in Middleborough versus
huge.
like any other school. Was like everybody did student council.
I think when I was going to school, it was like the biggest student council in the state.
Yeah.
Because we had like 250 kids in student council where like we go to like the student council thing in the summer and like some schools would have 5.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it was something that I think I give credit to like Principal Brannigan.
Shout out Paul Brannigan.
Like he obviously was like a very special human to bring people together, and there was a way to bring people together like under this organization. So
that was pretty cool.
And it wasn't just athletes. Like it was athletes, it was art, people in the art department. It was people who didn't have anything but the student council. Like that was pretty cool. Like I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, to build a community up that was especially a bunch of random kids from different parts of lives, different walks of lives. To build that, it's pretty cool. You said something about your dad being your coach, because I've had my dad be my coach before. So I was kind of wondering what that dynamic was, because for me, it was like, I'm getting yelled at no matter what. Yeah. Even if I'm doing everything right. You know what I mean? Was there a similarity there, or was he hard on you, maybe too hard on you sometimes?
It was weird. I always enjoyed every part of it. Yeah. We had this rule, like I would never call him dad at the rink, ever. He was my coach. I would call him coach in the room, coach. And playing juniors, I think, was the first time I really played for my dad. Like, I didn't really count youth hockey, which when he retired, I played for him a little bit. But, like, I don't really count that because at youth hockey, like, he wasn't yelling at me. He was just coaching. Like, everyone's just coaching. At the junior level, I was like, that's kind of the first step of big boy hockey. Like, I was put to a standard I felt that was probably higher than other guys because at the end of the day, like, whether it wasn't true, but whether you thought it or not, like, I'm being looked at as coach's son. Right? Like, whether it's my teammates or teams I play against. That's a good point. That was like the number one chirp I got in junior hocky. Like, oh, your dad got you this. And, we don't have to go into specifics of all the chirps I got. But as far as playing for him, I enjoyed playing for him. I thought him holding me to a higher standard. And it wasn't just me. Paul Frageau, who's my line mate for 2 years, the first 2 years juniors, like, my dad held him to the same exact standards if he was his son. Yeah. And that, to me, realized that, like, he isn't doing it because it's my son. He's doing it because we're at a certain level, and he demanded something from us for our team. And that's where I grew a lot of respect for my dad, that it wasn't a coach's son thing. He was honestly treating me like a player. Yeah. How he would treat, I see how he still coaches now. I see how he treats his captains and his older guys and, his leaders on the team. And he treats them as if it was me or my brother or something like that. Yeah. I'm sure he pushed some buttons because he knew which buttons to push, and it ticked me off at times, but I had nothing but like just, thanks for him because he's made me the person I am. But as a player, like he helped me. He was brutally honest in everything I did. Actually, a quick story. When I was in high school, I was 14 or 15, and I tried out for USHL team out in Lincoln, Nebraska. It was in Minnesota, and I never even heard of that league. I didn't know what it was. But one of the guys going there to, I think, either scout or help pick the team was an old coach of my dad's, and my dad always tells stories about him, John Oliver. And so at this camp, I had no intentions of making the team. Obviously, in my head, I want to make the team, but I'm 14. These kids are, at that time, 18, 19, 20 years old. And I played, and whenever the trial went on, but at the end of the tryout, he had me get lunch with him and sit down, and then he gave me, Coach Oliver gave me 5 things I need to work on. Those 5 things were the exact same 5 things my dad's been telling me for 10 years.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, fast forward a little, even now at the pro level, I'm starting to realize things on my own just by going through the process. Like, for example, the first one I can think of is I ride the bike so much this summer now, like 5-6 times a week. I try to. Obviously, certain weeks I can't because of work and stuff like that. It's where I'm in. My dad's been telling me to ride the bike since I've been 10 years old, and I have not listened to him.
I was going to say how much of that is, like, even now, it's like, are they still the same
happens.
5 things?
Oh, yeah. No, because I couldn't tell you the 5 things, but, like, I still, like, remember those 5 things. Actually, I think those 5 things are still taped to my dad's wall, the exact paper that Coach Oliver gave me.
Yeah.
So anytime I go see my dad in his office at home, you know, I see it, and I may not, like, stare at it, but subconsciously, like, I see it. It reminds me of, like, what, when I was a kid, those things didn't change. They weren't like, you know, get your shot harder. It was, like, intangibles that you control. And that's something that I've learned all the way up to now, that, like, control what you can control. So learning those 5 things, I don't even remember what they were, but I know that I control them.
Yeah.
So I've hopefully put them into my daily life, that now I don't have to think about them, that they're just a natural thing, like they're expected of me.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
It sounds to me like your dad was a coach at the rink and dad at home is what it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have funny jokes, like if I would yell at my dad at home, he's like, I don't know why you're yelling at me, I'm your dad. You can talk to your coach about that.
Yeah.
And that would always just make me more mad, but
yeah.
He was good about it.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that. I heard UMass got a new head coach in basketball, it's Frank Martin. He's like a notable guy, and he has kids. And he said the same thing, that when his kids would come home and he wasn't the coach, he would say, like, don't talk to me, talk to your coach, even though he's the head basketball coach at South Carolina.
Yeah.
You know, so like that kind of sounds similar, where it's like if you were coach, or maybe not in your case, but for anybody, like, you know, if your dad played the game and he knows the game a lot and you have a coach who isn't your dad would probably be like, yo, just listen to your coach. Like, don't bitch at me for it.
That was the worst thing, is it made our arguments that much more frustrating, because he's not a parent who never played. I can't be like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He knows he played 19 years professionally.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Is he right in everything? Probably not. No one is. I don't think anyone is. But
I'd love to shake that person's hand who's right at everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, he did a great job, and it definitely beneficial. But
yeah. I mean, you got to have that, right? Like, you got to have that separation. It just wouldn't be healthy.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I think that was part of it, like just having that healthy relationship. And I think that I have a great relationship with my dad now. When I'm living at home now, I don't have to call him every day. But when I'm off playing, I don't call him every day now that I'm a little older. But most days I talk to my dad and just kind of. Sometimes we just catch up. Most of the time, the conversation turns to hockey, but I'm not mad about that, because that's my life. I love the game. It's my passion, and I know that's his passion. And so it's healthy having that relationship away from the rink. And now that I don't play for him, like that kind of started in college mainly, a little bit when I moved away. But I remember one time I yelled at my dad, and I always regretted it. I told him, like, be my dad, don't be my coach, especially after like a Merrimack game. And it was just because I had a bad game or something. And for like a week, he like would not talk to me about hockey, and it made me so mad. Yeah. Because all I wanted to know is like, just help me fix what I'm doing wrong. Like, what can I do? And he's like, you wanted your dad. This is your dad. I'm not gonna coach you. Yeah. So, it's been good.
Yeah. Let's jump into when you left high school, Merrimack. Yeah. Committed there. When did you commit there?
I committed out of my senior year of high school. I committed out of the Bandits, and then I had to go play 2 gap years out west.
I forgot about that.
USHL and NA, and I kind of bounced around there, and that was kind of like my first adversity I had in hockey, because at the time, like, I was kind of like the guy on my team in the Bandits for a while. I had a little bit of it at the junior A level my first year, full year. Like, I didn't stand out, but I came back my second year and did my thing. But it was my first time living away from home, which honestly, I didn't feel like I struggled with. I think that goes with my personality. Like, I was able to adapt to that and learn. And I think I give credit to my parents for preparing me to, like, being respectful in another person's house and, like, cleaning up your dishes and, you know, putting your stuff away. But just moving around team to team, like, I got traded my rookie year, and I was devastated. Like, I had my best friends in Des Moines, and then I get traded on the deadline, an hour before the deadline, which like that's like big boy hockey right there. Like that's not like
it's a reality check.
It's a very reality check. Like they didn't. It's a business. Like as much, and even now, like they're younger now. There's like 16, 17-year-olds, and they're getting traded.
That sucks at that time. But looking back on it, like to me, like hearing that, like you got traded at the deadline, like that's to me, that's like pretty cool. Like honestly, it's. You know what I mean?
Going back to my dad, he helped me because obviously he's been through trades and stuff, and I got traded. I was devastated. I got traded from a non-playoff team to a team that was making a run, and we ended up going to the finals. So like, and I had a whole new group of people that I've connected with. And actually, I got the closest one I got with was my billet dad in Muskegon, who I got traded to. Whenever I'm in Michigan, I try to look him up and try to hang out with him. So, but it was definitely a reality check because like this isn't like youth hockey anymore. This isn't local junior hockey. This is like big boy hockey where like. The coach gets fired if he has a bad season. Like he has a job, he has to have food on the table. Yeah. I think at the time I didn't realize it fully. I've realized it more now. But yeah, so I played there, and then I actually got released from them the following summer when my brother was in that trade. We didn't find out till the summer. So he got traded before he could get into the draft league. Pick. Yeah, he was like a future consideration. Yeah, and he was a draft pick of Des Moines, so he got traded. And I was all excited to finally get to play with my brother because I didn't have that in high school. I didn't have it in juniors. So I go out and I got released. End up going to their rival, Youngstown. Played against my brother for the first time.
Did you fuck him up?
I fucked him up.
Did you?
I'll take us to my grave. He took 2 penalties. I scored when he was on the ice.
No doubt.
Sold out crowd. And he got ripped. He said he got ripped in the locker room, and the coach straight up yelled at him about me. And he yelled at the team because like I was on their team a couple months before that.
Yeah.
Did you skate by him and you were like, +1, bud?
No, because like I'm a
welcome
ruthless.
To the show.
Yeah, welcome to the show, pal.
I am a ruthless competitor, but I at the time I'm still young. I'm still growing and learning it. But I do remember the first penalty he took on me. I gave him a mean cross check after the whistle, like right in the ribs. Like it must have hurt. I was trying to hurt him. And I obviously it was my second year in the league. So
I would have fought my brother if he did that to me. I just would have dropped him, been like, "Let's go, you pigeon!"
Oh my god.
And
sorry,
that's okay. No, that's fine. I think that's how brothers are, right?
Yeah.
Like you would think. So he swung at me, punched me, and took a roughing penalty. And he went to the ref. He's like, "What do you mean?" Like he's the ref's like, "You retaliated." And I knew that I'm really good at going up to the refs and remembering the ref because I'm the guy that tiptoes the line. So if there's any guy that needs to be on the ref side, it's me.
Yeah.
Now, do I always get my calls? No. And I can tell you now, there's a lot of refs out there that don't like me. I will not yell at them, and if I do, either they deserved it or I will apologize. And that's kind of respect I have for them just because I ref and I know what kind of shoes they're in. But he took the penalty, and I got the last laugh because we won the game. And
that's awesome.
And whatnot. So.
Yeah, I hate refs, dude.
I had a... Did you?
Because I never said anything, dude. There's so many bullshit calls that happen like on the daily, and
it's a hard job though.
It's a hard job.
Very hard job.
Hey, but like, dude, there's some really bad calls. I never said anything. I just be like, dude, like, just a little shake of the head. One time I told him he fucking sucked, and I got my earpiece just melted off of me,
dude.
So I never said anything ever again to a ref. I just took it.
I was pretty similar to you where umpires baseball, I would talk to them and get to know them, relationship with them. Like I had favorite umpires like that. Yeah. If I saw an umpire coming to the field and I was like, yo, that's my boy right there.
Oh,
like
yeah,
we're going to have a good one. And there's been times at the plate where like it's, 2-3 years having this guy, you get some calls where it's like, I wouldn't get that call anywhere else if it wasn't this guy. But there's also been times, like you said, where I've been just in the box and I'm just like, yeah, you missed that one. Like saying that straight to his face. There was one time I said, like, I forget what I said, something like F you or something to the umpire, like under my breath. And I was getting in the box. Like I said it like as I'm looking at the pitcher. And as soon as I did that in the back of my head, I was like, I'm going to get rung up right now. Because it's like baseball's not like hockey where it's constantly moving. There's a decision to be made every 5 seconds or whatever. Sure enough, curveball, low. See ya. I'm like, I didn't even say anything. I just walked back to the dugout. I was like, dude, I so deserve that.
Yeah, I deserve that one. Yeah. But okay, so going back, so I played with that team right after, I believe, if I remember correctly, right after I played my brother, a couple weeks later, I ended up getting released from that team. That was my 20-year-old year, so you're only allowed 4 20-year-olds in that league. So you're not competing for 18 spots, you're competing for 4. So it makes it that much more competitive. And I'm not, at that time, this will come full circle here. When I went out there, I wasn't the guy. I had to learn to adapt a different role. I still had the confidence that I could compete and put the puck in the net. Like, that never left me. But I realized that, like, if Eddie and Dretta are putting the puck in more than I am, then I better be doing something to keep my job.
Yeah.
So I took a role in the PK, and I was a PK guy, but I really embraced it. And being a guy that's hard to play against. Yeah. And just a great locker room guy. I want to be a guy that, and that part of that was my personality. But
so you knew, like, you're like, yo, I got to do something that gives me value.
Oh, yeah. When I got traded the first time, even though I got traded to a playoff team, like, that was a little bit of a wake-up call. Like, you're never safe. Like, I thought I was safe, and I wasn't. So, like, you can't have this safe. If the minute you start feeling comfortable and safe, like, that's when you let your guard down and maybe some of your habits go away. I honestly can't comment if they did or not because I don't know. Like, it'd be hard to notice that. But obviously there was something that, like, they had to make a decision whether it was me or someone else, and they chose to get rid of me, right? So, and it didn't just happen once. It happened. That was within a 2-year period. I played for 3 teams, and then I ended up getting sent down to the NA down in Texas, which I did not want to do. It was the Tier 2 league, so it's like above the Bandits but below the USA.
I remember you down there, yeah.
And it ended up being the best thing I ever did. I got my confidence back. I ended up starting to produce a little more. The thing was, too, I got so much opportunity off the bat, and as much as whether I deserved it or not for getting sent down, I took full advantage of it and not only didn't change my style of play, but made sure that, okay, I learned that not only can I be the guy that does all the intangibles, the little things that never show up on a score sheet, I realized that I can also still put the puck in the net and still be contributing and play power play and do these other things that I wasn't doing before. And I give a lot of credit to my coach, Dan Wildfung, who is I actually might argue he was the hardest coach I've ever played for.
Down in Texas?
Down in Texas. He would motherfuck you to your face. He was brutally honest. And it wasn't mean. Everyone thought he was a mean coach. He was just being honest in a very loud way.
Yeah.
And if you couldn't take it, you weren't going to play for him.
Yeah.
I know a couple guys that got traded because they just didn't like playing for him, so you just got rid of them. I thrived under that because I would give it back to him, and I've had honest dialogue in his office. I remember one conversation he had with me. I don't know if he'll ever remember this, but he called me in and he told me if I don't change the way I play, I won't play at college.
Yeah.
I won't play Division I. And that was an eye opener, right?
Yeah.
I came in there, had a good stint, and then I had a little cold period, and that's when he's like, you gotta be consistent. You can't be an inconsistent guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like my first adversity, I would say, like major adversity in hockey, where at that point, I mean, I've had adversity, I'm sure, throughout my hockey career, but that was like some major adversity that I couldn't control. Was I can't control if I get traded or released or stuff like that and moving teams. So
yeah, can you go a little bit more in depth about that pressure?
I was gonna say that
day to day, like you don't know where you're gonna be next, but you kind of have to just focus mentally the whole time on the game. Because you said there's things you can't control, and that has a lot of pressure on somebody, especially when they're 20 years old, right?
Oh, yeah. And the pressure only keeps building. Like, well, first off, to answer your question, like, when I went down to Texas, I actually didn't feel as much pressure. I felt like I not in the least cocky way possible, I felt like the guy because I came from a higher league, right? Like, I'm expected to be the guy, so I, with full confidence, I didn't lack confidence in that regard. It was the pressure of, like, you have to come to play every day. And I embraced that pressure. It wasn't a bad pressure. It was a great pressure. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved that I had to be the worker. And, I would stay on the ice extra for an hour. Coach Wildfang and I would stay out with the youth team in one end and ask the coach if we could use the other end, and we were doing cutbacks.
So you said there was a bit of, like you weren't comfortable, I would say, during that time, like when you got traded and all those times in the juniors. Take me underneath, like, the bucket a little bit, aside from, like, the skills, like, on the ice stuff. Like, where were you at, like, mentally? Because for me, being comfortable on the baseball field resulted in me playing well.
Yeah.
And mentally, like, it went hand in hand for me. Was there ever a time where you were just like, yo, fuck this, bro? Like, like,
I would say not when I was in Texas, because things were going pretty well for me. And at the time, to be completely honest, as much as I was maturing, like, I wasn't at that level yet to realize that there was even, like, a mental side to hockey.
Really?
Even though I had people, people telling me, like, you can't get caught up in it. I looking back, I don't think there was a single time I ever thought, like, oh, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. Like, that's one thing I credit myself for, and I think it's part of the reason I'm still playing. I've never honestly gone to the rink and be like, I don't want to play hockey ever again.
Yeah.
Like, even on my worst days, it wasn't because I didn't love the game. It was because of something else. Right?
Yeah.
And I would never let something else affect my love for the game.
Okay.
My passion is so strong with this. Like, I joke around all the time, but, like, my one true love has been hockey.
Yeah.
Right. It's the one love that it can't love me back until I make it, I guess. But
we'll talk about what you said of off air. You said, what is the difference now versus back then, where you said now you're sort of, dedicating yourself to the game, and there is a side of that that's also taken a little bit of a hit. Like, talk about that and versus at that time.
So I've always been taught, like, I'm sure it's with any sport, but like hockey has its pyramid, right? And as you climb up the pyramid, people fall off the pyramid. It can only hold so many people. So that's what I've realized. Like junior hockey, there's people playing junior hockey that wouldn't have made it junior hockey but played high school hockey, right? Then you have the kids who, out of juniors, wanted to play college hockey. Some played D1, some played D3, some played club, and then some didn't play at all because they couldn't make it, right? So as you get higher up the pyramid, it gets harder to make it, which also made me realize, like, it was more mentally draining on me. I honestly didn't start, like, having not mental struggles, but just, like, realizing it was more than just, like, what you physically do till college, where, like, I didn't play a lot my freshman, sophomore year. Part of it was, like my freshman year, I was such a zombie and a robot to be, like, succeed in what the coach wanted. I forgot why he recruited me. Like, he didn't recruit me to, like, be this zombie. He recruited me because of how I am and who I am and how I play. And then it took me up till, like, pro hockey now of, this is going in my third year. And, it took me a look in the mirror. Most of my college friends who played Division I are retired or are retiring.
Yeah.
And I won't say his name because I don't want to blow him up, but, like, one of my closest friends I lived with is considering, do I retire? Do I go get a job? And for him, it's a money thing.
Yeah.
And there's other aspects that go into it, but for him, it's like we don't make a lot of money in the East Coast League. We get our housing paid for, and, I make enough where I'm not hurting, but, like, I don't make enough where, like, I'm able to go get a house or stuff like that. I just got my first car last year, and, like, I have to work for that car. Like, I work more in the summers than I do in the year. To go off what you said, I've realized that, like, I've always been the guy that's been hockey first. I will take that to my grave. In high school, I skipped out going on some of the high school parties and doing the certain things. And I think I missed a couple dances and stuff like that. Stuff I wanted to do, like stuff with my friends that I would miss because I was playing junior hockey on a Friday, Saturday night. I missed a lot of high school because I was leaving at 10 a.m. to go play a junior game at 11:30.
Yeah.
And this summer, I kind of realized that, like, yes, I sacrificed a lot. And the biggest comment I get, which is also the biggest insult, is I'm, like, the hardest worker everyone knows. And everyone keeps telling me that. Like, you work so hard. Guys I play with. And I appreciate that. I really do. I don't not appreciate it. But to me, it's like a slap in the face because, like, if I work that hard, I'm either not that good or I'm not working hard enough because, like, I'm not where I want to be. Yeah. Right? Like, I'm very fortunate for the Wheeling Nails. I'm very fortunate to play pro hockey right now. I will never take that for granted. But if anyone, like, if you're lying, if you're saying you're okay with that, then either you're okay with where you're at in hockey, but, like, I'm not. I want to play in the National Hockey League. That's still my goal. Yeah. At 27, I still believe I can do it, and I still believe in myself. Yeah. So learning that, what can I do to adjust to that? Like, I was always a hard worker. I worked out. I skated. I got a skating coach last summer. Right. I paid for that out of pocket. This summer I started riding the bikes. Little stuff that, like, did I ride the bike? Yeah, I've always rode the bike, but I didn't ride it 5-6 days a week. Yeah. Right? I didn't go to work out, shoot pucks, come home, and then ride the Peloton at some point. For me, that was like a wake-up call that I started doing those things, right? I started shooting pucks consistently, not 2 to 3 times a week, but every day I'm at the rink, I go to the gym, I go to shoot pucks. My eating habits, like little things that has nothing to do, like that's just nutrition. Like I started trying to eat healthier, right? In college, it's so hard not to go to the calf and pick out every little thing you want, right?
Little donuts.
And now that I live my own, like there's no one babysitting me. Yeah. I have to make my own food. Like when I'm at home, I'm very fortunate. My mom and dad make food when they can. But my brother's been very strict on his diet for years, and he's always been in really good shape. Except for the end of his senior year when he got a little bit of a belly. He deserved it. But he got so back into shape, like a couple weeks later, I was so impressed. And I was like, man, like, what do you, like, we're working out the same. We're skating the same. I'm riding the bike more than you are. Like, what's going on? And his eating habits are so good. Yeah. I always thought mine were good, and they probably were, but I was still slacking here and there. Yeah. I'm a big snacker. I love snacking. So this summer, I've really cut back on the snacking. I've tried to drinking more water. Oh, yeah. And just being healthier with my meals, like, I'm into the chicken salads for lunch. I love them. Like,
chicken salad's really good. Fire.
Buffalo chicken salad, homemade, you can't beat it. Your teammates are always going to be there for you. Your family's always going to be there for you. But, like, when a stranger can just listen to you, like, I know he's getting, I didn't pay him. I mean, it was free through the school. But, like,
I hear
sitting
you.
there and he's giving feedback. Yeah. And helping me and stuff like that. Like that was huge for me to take that step.
And you know that you can say anything to him.
Yeah.
Like you could, like you're not going to get in trouble if you say like, oh, like whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Which was still hard to open up to because like not doing it, like you're still scared to say things because you've never had that comfortability to be able to say whatever you want and you know you're okay.
Yep.
You know, I can't complain about a coach or a teammate or my brother or something in life and like, oh shoot, is this going to affect my life? No, it's just you're reaching out.
Yeah.
And I did that for a while and then I stopped doing it because I felt I got what I needed out of it and it helped me. But I still have days like this summer I'll be at home. It's hard at home. Like it's really hard at home because none of my like close hockey friends who are in Mass aren't around me and we're all busy. Like they're training just like I am. So it's not like we're all free time and we're sitting there, but you know, you're at night and you know, brother goes on a date with his girlfriend and then like I'm sitting there at home. Like,
you're just like, oh,
family's
fuck
out
me.
doing some sisters are out. I'm just like, I'm by myself right now.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it'll like pop, like, fuck, is it even worth it? And right away, I'm like, fuck yeah, it's worth it. Like, I love what I do.
Yeah.
I love my job. I love every second of it. I love going to the rink. I love my teammates. I love having the mental struggles from hockey. I embrace them.
I was going to say, you embrace that.
I embrace them. They don't scare me away. They don't make me hate the game, at least not yet anyways. I embrace them because I know that's going to make me into a better person down the road. Like, I credit hockey a lot for just like who I am now as an adult because it shaped me. Like I've gone through so much adversity through that like adversity in real, like I have a problem with a casual girlfriend or something like, oh, okay. Like
just forecheck harder.
Happy that I didn't go to lunch, but I'm dealing with like, I just got traded. Like there's two. Like,
just, you know what? I'm having trouble with my girlfriend. Let me just forecheck a little harder. And just
take it out on the guy in the corner.
Yeah. But Alex says that a lot too, is him growing up in a hockey family has really made him.
I think it's the best thing ever to happen.
Yeah.
To me at least. And like, I was just put into it. Like I'm lucky enough that happened to me, right? It teaches you so many things, like not just the game, teaches you so much about life.
Yeah,
100%.
It's such a team game, but it's also, you have your individual, you also have to pick people up, you have to make so many sacrifices for your teammates.
The best quote that stuck with me was actually from my dad. He said, hockey's a small microcosm of the real world. And he said that applies to any sport or anything you do. And it made me realize like all my buddies are in jobs now. You're in a team at the office, right? You're with your employees. That's your team. And it's the same thing. You're competing, get promoted, and do these other things. And if you're in a serious relationship and you're looking to get married, like you got to make money. Like you got to have these big life decisions. Well, I feel like I've been prepared pretty well through hockey with the adversity you go through.
Absolutely.
And honestly, not just hockey. I'm sure you've gone through it with baseball and other sports. Like I can't say I went through any adversity with tennis, major adversity, anyways. But I'm sure I had adversity through. I mean, I guess I wasn't the best at tennis, so I got
brings
mad
it back
sometimes.
to high school freaking tennis. Yeah,
I miss high school tennis. That was so much fun. Competitive tennis.
I wanted to kind of bring it back just a little bit into more of a deep question because you talked about how you embrace the game and you embrace your struggle, and you're very competitive. We can. Pretty sure both of us can tell you're super hyper competitive. And this happened to me, so I just want to ask this like straight up. Do you ever feel like you're running out of time to accomplish your dreams?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
I'd be lying. I wanted to say no. To be honest, I wanted to say no. But like honestly, no, I have. Like I have that pressure. I've had that pressure a lot this summer. I think just as crazy as it sounds, 27 in the hockey world is kind of old nowadays. Like it's just getting younger and younger.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the case for any sport, honestly.
It's just because I think because of where like life's going though. Like it's not all just like hitting and grinding. Like now it's fast, right? Like, the game, everything's speeding up. So for me, like there's times that like 100% I'm like, wow, I tell myself all the time my clock's ticking. And honestly, it helps me a little, I think, because I'm always that much motivated because I don't know how much longer I have in hockey. My biggest fear is being told like someone takes hockey away from me, whether it's an injury or I just can't make a team or whatever the case may be. Like that's my biggest fear. I want to be able to walk away from the game when I'm ready. Now, I think 99% of guys probably don't get to do that. That's a very hard thing to ask, and that's talking about guys all the way up to the NHL level. There's guys who just like don't make the NHL anymore. Yeah, and there's nothing they can do about it. So, do I think it? Yes, but it'll never make me like less motivated for or inspired for my dreams and my goals in life because I'm those outweigh the concern of the clock ticking. And there was an article I read, a guy who was 33 made the NHL a couple years ago. And I'm like, if he can do it, why can't I do it at 33 or 34 or 30 or whatever the age may be, whenever my path is ready?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So
if he can make the NHL at 33 and give his friends tickets, and why can't Drevitch make the NHL at 33 and give me tickets? Fact.
You ever want a ticket in West Virginia, you let me know.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I don't care. He just wants the tickets.
No, but I think going off of Dretta's question, I wanted to piggyback on that a little bit and ask you. Let's jump to Merrimack a little bit. You mentioned that you saw a sports psychologist there. What year was that?
That would have been my sophomore year.
Okay, sophomore year. Was that during the season? Or
I think it was towards the end, I believe.
But it was still in season?
It was still in season.
Okay.
And I was doing every once in a while.
Okay, so this would be really insightful, I think, for people listening, is off the ice, you're seeing a sports psychologist, right? Nobody knows that, and nobody has to know that.
Yeah.
That's your business, right?
Yeah.
But on the ice, people are seeing you in the uniform, put the bucket on, right? And skate off onto the ice. If you remember, what was like your mental at that time underneath like your helmet, you skating onto the ice as you know that you're seeing somebody for that, anxiety?
Before I was seeing him, it was a lot more stressful of like putting on that smile.
Yep.
Compared to when I started seeing him and I was able to release some of that emotion and some of those feelings and my thoughts, that I was able to go to the rink with a clear head.
Yep.
I could put the helmet on and not be second guessing everything or like wondering what's going on. Am I playing or not? It made me realize like just go out there and play and have fun and just like that's probably the biggest thing I give kids advice is like go out there and just have fun.
Yeah.
And that helped in that guard where like I put my helmet on, I've got my stuff out. And honestly, I think at the most part, like who I am, like I don't bring it to the rink. Is there times like I go, like there's days, I think everyone does this, like I'll go to the rink and you may think everything's fine with me, but I'm just putting on that face because that's what I have to do for my teammates, right?
Yeah.
Especially as a leader, I feel like you can't see me falling apart because then you're going to fall apart. I don't want that to be the reason. I want to show strength so that you see strength.
So was there games that you were like not clear-headed, like that you were just like in a knot?
There was one I can think of right off the bat.
And you remember it specifically?
Specifically.
Yeah.
This was my freshman year.
Okay.
I was playing right off, like I got in the lineup after like the first game or two and started playing some good hockey. We had a freshman line and we were playing pretty good. My roommate and I were playing sewer ball, which is with soccer ball before games, for those who don't know. And we have a meeting at 5:30, pre-meeting with the coach. And our coach was, as any coach should be, like 5:30 is 5:30. It's not 5:32. It's not 5:31. It's 5:30. So I didn't bring my phone out when I play sewer. We just play. And there was a security guard. So I asked him what time it is. He tells me the time. We just keep playing. So at like what we thought was like 5:20. We start walking back into the locker room, and one of the guys come out and it's like, dude, like, where you guys been? It's like 5:35. Like, we've been waiting for you guys. We walk into the room, and everyone, including the coaches, is waiting on us too. And so long story short, he gives a spiel. He calls us into his office after, and he's just like, what happened? And I took onus. I was like, we asked the security guard the time. It wasn't correct. I'm not blaming him. It's my fault. I should have had my phone or some type of watch or something. The coach looked at us, and he said, okay. That was my buddy Coombsy. He's like, Coombsy, you're not playing tonight, so you can put your suit back on. Drevy, you're not playing tomorrow night. It was the hardest hockey game I've ever played in because, like, I was not in that game.
No.
I remember I was in the tunnel going out for the game, and I didn't think I was still nervous. I thought I was ready to go. I must have looked nervous because the head coach came back up to me and was like, man, Drev, it's over with. It's done. I'm not going to hang it over your head. It's one game you don't get to play tomorrow, but I need you to play this game. This game matters.
Yeah.
So I need you to, like, show up, like, shake it off. I remember saying that, and I think it made it worse because when he told me that, I thought I was fine. And when he said it, I was like really in my own head. I was like, oh, man, he can see it. Like,
yeah. And
I'm pretty sure I was awful that game. Just like standing around, overthinking on the ice. It wasn't like I wasn't like competing. I was just like overthinking.
Yeah. I want you both to like talk hockey here because I don't know. Baseball is one of those sports where if you have any ounce of doubt, you're done. Like literally done. Have you ever heard of like the yips before?
Yeah.
Where the guy like can't throw the ball? Maybe not. There's been people. I had the yips before. I think a lot of people at the high level have had the yips before, and it's all psychological. Where like people go to throw the ball to you like 10 feet away, and it will end up backwards. And it's not like physical or anything. It's all mental. It's just mental doubt. Has there been doubt with you guys like playing on the ice at all, where it's like you know, if you have the puck at the blue line and you're passing it, you know, across to a defenseman, like, are you like scared at any moment of you messing up? So has there ever been a time where either of you on the ice have like doubted yourself and thought of, you know, you not passing it to somebody the right way, and it's like so obvious that like you can just do that, but like there's like a mental aspect to that?
I wouldn't say I doubted myself. Most of my problems came from outside of hockey, and it wasn't the actual game itself or anything around the game. It was like everything outside of it. So when I'd walk into to play a game, that went out the window, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to put that on my teammates. Like, that's kind of selfish of me to put on my teammates that I'm not going to play good because I have this going on in my life, right? That's like how I thought of it. Like, it's not their fault. I'm here to play for them, play for my coach, play the game how I'm supposed to play. Did it take a toll on me? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, there's points where I didn't want to show up to the rink.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to just not do that.
Yeah.
You know, there's people that depend on me, so I got to do it regardless.
Yeah.
What's going to happen. Performance-wise, no, I didn't really...
You just played the game?
No, I played the game. Like, it's a routine. Like, as a defenseman, it's definitely different than being a forward. Like, defenseman, I mean, it's not really that different, but...
They have different aspects.
It's a little bit different when it's like you're going up and down the ice. You like read the whole ice. Like, that's my job. That's my schedule in my head. That's what I'm going to do. Read the ice the whole game. You know, control the play the whole game. You know what I mean? Like, what if I don't show up? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, if you're on the number one line, you're on the power play and the penalty kill, you don't show up for a game, what do you think happens? You know?
Yeah. Probably lose.
Yeah, probably lose.
Yeah. What about you, Drevy?
Like I said, I don't think I brought anything, like if something was going on outside of hockey or if I was struggling with something outside the rink, I never brought it on the ice. But like if I was to miss a play or have a bad shift early, like in my career, like juniors or college, like you're gripping the stick a little harder. Like if you haven't scored a goal in a while, it was the hardest thing to get out of that funk because you had to do that. But I would say now that like I'm in the pro game, I wouldn't say I perfected it, but I've take control of the mental side of it so much more that like I make sure that if I have a bad shift or a bad play, I'm not gripping that stick, or I'm, you know, if I can't get a puck out on the boards the next shift, I'm not worried about it.
It's just like fuck it. Like
I can't control it. It's over with. Like just like I said, it goes back to like just have fun and enjoy it, because like am I gonna yell? I had one I went tape to tape with the other team for the game winner because I made a play that I've made a million times that my D wasn't there and I should have looked, but I trusted myself that I didn't have to look because I haven't looked a million times. I put it on the kid's tape back door and he scored. Game winner.
Yeah.
Did that bother me? Of course it bothered me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing that was worse about it, we didn't play the next day, so now it's sitting in your head for the days to come.
Yeah.
But by the time I was going to get on the ice again, it didn't bother me. I was ready to get back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, there's definitely been times, like, honestly, it wasn't even in high school, really, that I felt like that at all. It was like selects or like AAA, like elite stuff, where like you're kind of getting looked at.
Yeah, like a showcase where it's all
showcases, like the USA national development stuff.
Yeah.
Like that was definitely more in your head because like, those guys, dude, you're getting looked at from everyone.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I think
New England, right?
I think like they don't educate athletes enough. I think where like you're at the national program, like I did those, and everyone's pressured because you're trying to make the USA team for this tournament they're doing. Well, like they don't teach. I mean, they may do now because I haven't been to it since I was a kid. But like I wasn't taught about how to deal with the mental side of things, like of trying to make a team like that, like for your country. Like,
what would you guys say to somebody who's in that shoes to help them with like that mental aspect? Like you said, you weren't taught that, but like what would be a piece of advice?
I would never. I would love to try to give mental advice to that, but I'm still learning it as I'm doing it. So I would be very hesitant to give advice that maybe wouldn't work for them. It works for me, but maybe it doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
The advice I'd give would kind of be like avoiding the question, would be like, don't try not to worry about it, but just like have fun.
Yeah.
Like enjoy it. Like, at the end of the day, we all started playing sports to have fun.
Yeah.
I truly believe to be the best version of you on the ice or on the field, enjoy it. Have fun. Don't overstress. Like why? Yes, it's like, for me, it's a job now. I don't look at it as a job. I do because I know it's a job, but I look at it as I'm still a kid having fun playing hockey, trying to win the game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whether it's I'm trying to get called up or I'm trying to make a USA team, I wouldn't give any advice of like, oh, like do this mentally, this. I don't know. You're gonna have to figure that. Like as much as it sucks, I think you have to figure a lot of that out on your own of like what works for you. But like my advice would be just like have fun with it.
I just realized I have the shirt on from the camp,
that's cool.
which is hilarious. Yeah, I would just say play your game. Like at the end of the day, if you make a mistake, whatever, everyone makes a mistake, goes to the highest level, everyone makes a mistake. Just focus on your next shift. That's really it. Like the worst thing you can do is get so caught up in what you just did that you can't play the rest of the game.
Yeah. Do you ever think about that? Like, I know you just said you didn't, but like, has there ever been a time where it's like, yo, fuck, I gotta play like well, or like I'm gonna lose my job?
My rookie year pro, I got released. It was COVID year, so the league got cut over in half. So it was like going for a company that only had half the positions.
Yeah.
So to make a team was really hard, and I was really proud. I made a team and was stuck. And then about like 2/3 into the season, they released me. And told me the worst part is they tell you you did nothing wrong. It was just like, we have older guys, we're keeping them, we're not keeping you, and got released. I played against my former team for one game, which was the most insane thing ever. And then I went home to Boston, and it was the hardest part of my life I've ever had, because I thought hockey was taken away from me. I ended up getting brought back by Wheeling a month later, kind of like a second chance. It was a coaching change, and the assistant brought me back. I had a good relationship with him, and I had a great relationship with the head coach too. But he brought me back. Said they wanted me back, and there was they should have kept me around. When that first, like the rest of that year, my rookie year, I was like, I have to play good every game.
Yeah.
I don't want to put myself.
Did you play worse or better?
I played better.
Really?
I did. I think I wasn't hockey wise playing any differently. I think for the most part, like I was doing the same things. For me, during that period, that was when I started my skating coach. So like some of those things I was doing with him was starting to translate to the game. So in that aspect, I think I play better. What I was realizing, like I started fighting more, where I don't want to fight. I want to be a hockey player. Like I want to be everyone wants to score goals. Not everyone can score goals. So I realized like I might have to drop the gloves every once in a while and do certain things. And I think my play was very similar, but like my consistency was more, what I brought to the table was more. And in that regard, I had the pressure of, I don't want to put in the shoes of not having a job.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even about having a job. It was about the game I love was taken from me, and there was nothing I could do about it. Right? And then I clear waivers, and that means no one wanted you. So now you're in a position, it's like, wow. For the first time in my life that I can remember, I don't have hockey.
Yeah.
For a guy like me, that was a major, major adjustment. And it took me to get very low to get very high where I am now.
Yeah.
And, I had some dark moments. I had some big fights with friends, with family, with relationships, and nothing I can do about it now. I've moved past it. But those moments put me in a position where I was like, in a positive way, where like, I have to play good.
Yeah.
I have to. I'm not putting myself in this position ever again.
Damn. That's a really good outlook on that.
Yeah.
When you first started saying it, like, I thought that was like a really good point of like you getting cut or released, and then you almost took it as, I'm going to get that next opportunity and I'm not going to lose it when I do.
Yeah.
I'm obviously paraphrasing, but
so to be honest, like when I first got home, I didn't have that mindset.
Yeah.
I had the worst. I had a mindset of like, I'm done. What am I doing next?
Yeah. And you started taking it.
And it wasn't like I'm ready to walk away. It was like, it wasn't like I was looking. I was scared shitless.
Yeah.
Scared out of my mind. And that was like the big thing that like caused all these chain reactions of me having these fights with my friends and family and whatever happened. Like on top of that, I was living in Boston, and at the time the guy I was living with was still playing. So I'm by myself in a city that I just moved into, in an apartment by myself, when all my friends who live in the city are working at 9 to 5.
Yep.
Where I go to the gym, I skate, I'm done with my day at 1 o'clock, and I'm just sitting there.
So when did it turn for you? Like, did it turn once you got?
When I was in my darkest. I got a huge fight after a night out. I got a little drunk, and I do believe if you're in a dark place, do not drink alcohol. It's just going to make it worse. Like, I truly believe in that. I try to only drink
that's a scientific fact. It is a depressant.
It is. And I don't even remember if I was drunk. I just remember like having that one drink allowed my body to open up to all these emotions and these feelings. And I took it out on like, I kicked my 2 best friends from college out of my apartment after we got back from the bar. I told them to just get out. My best friend Emma, who's from Merrimack, I lived with her at one point. she was at the house, I was so mean to her, and so disrespectful. And I regret it to this day. And we've made up, and we're best friends again. And she doesn't like, she's not happy with what I did, but she understands where I was at and what I was dealing with. And like, I have never had to deal with that ever. So, and I didn't have my dad in the room next to me to go over it, or my best friends. Like I felt alone and on my own. And at that point, like I just went off the rails and just like lost it on people and took it out on people and broke down. And it took me to like an hour later after that is when it started coming back up. I realized like, wow, okay, I got it out, which was not the right way to get it out, but I got it out. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to go even deeper. I want to change it around. I'm not going to be that. I'm not a quitter. Yeah. Right. I'm not going to let this one bad moment take away from me. I'm not letting this be how I walk away from hockey or how I treat my friends and family. Yeah. And how you know you have good friends is I called my friends. I called Emma. She wouldn't take my call to apologize. It took a couple of days to take that call.
Who did?
My friend Emma Cagney.
Oh, okay.
She was. We were best friends in college. Yeah. I always joke because I was always like trying to hook her up with my best friends, and problem is we were all best friends. So like I just want my best friend who's a girl to like marry one of my best friends as a guy. That's a dream scenario. All your friends are friends forever. But my two other friends who I kicked out were waiting in the car outside my apartment, and they knew I just needed a cool. Like they knew
they didn't even leave.
Didn't even leave. They
That's
were in
awesome.
the. I called them. And I was like, I broke down. I was like, I'm so sorry. And they're like, we know. And I was like, I know this is crazy because you guys are probably driving home right now, but like, can you guys come back over? Like, I could really use some company. And they're like, Trev, we're downstairs waiting for you.
So it was up from there?
It was up from there because I think it started to go up from there. Did I still have dark moments from there and still have things that I wasn't happy about? Of course, like of lashing out on people, but it was the start of that healing process of I'm not going to let myself ever get to that point again. And I'm proud to say that I've never even come close to that point. And I've had bad things happen in hockey. Like I had so many injuries this year that I think I've never dealt with injuries. So for me, it was a big change in a whole different aspect of the mental side. But I didn't hit a low point as low as that or even come close to it because I went through that experience and I learned from it. I didn't just go through it and move on from it. I learned from it and I don't want to do it again. And I know how not to do it again. I know how to healthily, if that's even a word.
Healthily.
Yeah.
Healthily. Is that a word?
Sure.
Is that a word?
It's a word now. Put in the word bank.
But to go about things and like make sure I'm in a good spot. And
That's
part of it
awesome.
is just like talking it out with friends and find that person just to listen.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
100%.
Absolutely. So where are you at now to wrap everything back up?
I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really good right now. Have I had my ups and downs throughout the summer? Of course. You know, like I said, with the social life, like that's been a big toll on me. I'm a very social guy, but I'm happy that, you know, right now I don't get to go out and have those drinks and dinners like everyone else does all the time. And I'm okay with that because I'm doing what I love. I'm pursuing it. And it may have taken me a long time to figure the whole thing out, but I'm starting to figure it all out to the point where like now I'm seeing results a little bit, just little results, like self results, not like achievements or anything, but just stuff that like now I'm going to next season really confident where I'm at. I have a game plan of what I want to do and what I'm expecting. And if it doesn't happen, I can look in the mirror and say, I have zero regrets. I'm happy where I'm at. So I'm happy about it. I still love the game. I'm still going to keep playing. I joke, like I take it year to year. I always do. I don't ever say like, I'm going to play the next 5 years. I'm going to take it year to year, see where it goes. But I can promise you, like, I don't see myself retiring anytime soon. Just my, you know, what my priorities are might change a little bit of like what I want to do, but they may not change. I love Wheeling. I found a little home in West Virginia, and I love our staff and the guys. So I just, you know, it's a good spot for me. I started my own clothing brand, something that I take a lot of pride in, that like how many people can say they played a professional sport and also started their own clothing brand. Like that's, to me, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. Full swing, last thing I'll bring up that I wanted to bring up on air with you.
Oh, yeah.
So back in the day, we used to rap down here.
Yes, we did.
We used to rap, freestyle.
Yeah.
And before I get into why I'm bringing that up, I started freestyling in college, and I always thought it was my buddy Jackson Bales. Shout out Jackson Bales. Check out his music if you guys want. It's very relaxing, nice, peaceful music. I really like his music. He was very into music into college. So like this one night at a party, he had lines prepared to chirp me and have a rap out. He told my old roommate, like, hey, I'm gonna have a rap out with Drevin, just blindside him. thinking he was going to get the better of me. Now, did he get better of me? Of course he did. He rolled his lines down. I clapped back every single time with my own freestyle line. And I always thought, like, in the moment, like, wow, I was that good. But I realized it was Dretta who got me on my rapping career. And if I remember correctly, the three of us have a song out there somewhere.
Somewhere. It's probably still on your computer.
Before you ask, no, I do not share my music. I'll share it with you guys off air, but like friends and stuff. But I probably have 150 plus songs in the bank.
I love that.
That we'll do just for fun. Just for fun. We do it in college. My boys are all about like putting an instrumental on, and I'm like, nah, I don't think I can do this one. I'm feeling this one. And sometimes it's gold, and sometimes it's garbage.
And no one deserves to hear that besides you.
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's. If you're lucky enough to hear it, shout out to you because
we have a vault.
We have the vault.
Yeah, the vault. That's what I call it. They're in the vault.
I swallowed the key, bro.
I did have one song. I don't want to say the name of it because it's a little inappropriate. I don't need to expose myself. But the boys in Wheeling brought it like. It's to the theme song of YMCA. So at the bar, they put on the karaoke machine YMCA, and the whole bar was singing my version though. Over this.
Really?
It was the coolest thing ever. We were on the road and.
That's how Dretta feels at a concert, by the way.
Is it?
I'm sure. Everybody's singing your song,
I mean, it feels good, but I don't know about his situation.
In Rocky Top, West Virginia, it might be a little different.
I mean, the other time my music took a peak was we were on the road. Where were we? We were in Orlando, and the last night we went out as a team. We ended up at a college bar, and it was like a giant mosh pit of like 500 plus kids.
Oh my!
And somehow me and two other guys in the team like wheels our way to this like the VIP booths next to the DJ stage, and just kept climbing it up. And next, you know, like I'm this close to the DJ, and I don't know why I had the confidence. I was just like, hey. Throw an instrumental on, I'll rap in front of all these people. And he goes, oh, yeah? My boy's like, he'll do it. Threw an instrumental on. I rapped in front of like 500 college students. I didn't get booed, so I must have done all right. But
no doubt.
That was the peak of my rapping. I would honestly say I think I've lost my touch a little bit. I don't do it enough now. But maybe it's because I've matured a little bit. But I enjoy it. It is fun.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I love the turn of events here because now we're talking about funnies.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one more hockey-related question that I've been dying to ask. What is it like to fight somebody in a hockey game? Is it like, are you talking before like, yo, drop them, pal?
Depends on the moment. Like, you have a couple stage fights. I'm not really...
Stage fights, yeah.
Stage fights. They're very out of the game. Like, my rookie year, we had a fighter, Brad Drevitch. Love him to death. He helped me a lot my rookie year, just learning the pro game. But he was there to fight. He'll be the first to admit it. He was there to beat the shit out of guys.
Yeah.
Stick up for his teammates. So, like, my rookie year, most of the time, like, anytime I'm a rat. I'm like the Brad Marchand. Like, I'm just a rat pissing people off. Drobes was like, Drev, you're not fighting anyone. I'll do every fight for you. To the point where, like, guys would put me in headlock, like, we're going. And all I hear is Drobes yelling from the bench, Drevy, change. I look over, and he's got 1 foot on, gloves on the bench, and he's going to go on the ice with no gloves. And I'm like, okay, that's a fighter.
Yeah.
Even last year, you don't see many of those fights. A lot of the fighters, like, it's just, as much as it sucks, like, it's just, they're not in the game anymore.
Yeah.
I think they deserve to be in because they 100%. Police the game.
Yep.
My fights are like, I piss someone off, I got to answer the bell or something, or like momentum swings are huge for me. Like, the best advice I got from my coach was, you're the type of guy that doesn't need a fight when someone asks. You fight when you want it. You dictate when you want to go. So the boys always joke, because my comeback when everyone asks me to fight when I probably should, because I deserve it. I'm like, oh, I'll let you know when I want one. I'll let you know.
I'll let you know when I want one, pal. But like that?
Yeah, oh yeah. No, literally. And I think there was one in my career that I answered the bell because I had to. And I didn't really have to. It was more of a respect. It's like the code.
Yeah.
This year I hit the captain on Atlanta. He just played like over his down game pro. He's like 40 years old. And I absolutely leveled him first shift. Because I'm playing hard. I'm trying. I don't care who you are. I'm going to hit you. I'm playing against you. I'm going to do what it takes to win. And their fighter, who's like, the fighters now in the league can still play. Like, they're not just there to fight. They can still play the game. This guy, like, followed me around for, like, 3 shifts in a row, asking me to go. And I kept saying, like, oh, I was tired, or no, I'm not going. And then it was the end of the first. He asked me on the draw, and I was like, you know what? I have to answer the bell here. I hit their older guy. Let's go. The big thing in pro hockey, you got to read the game notes. You got to know who the tough guys are. I didn't know that was their tough guy. Because that one game, I was a little lazy and didn't read the game notes. I always read the game notes. I broke my thumb in that fight, and he absolutely kicked my ass. I got my ass kicked that fight.
That's awesome.
I could probably say I lose most of my fights. That's okay. Or draws.
Yeah.
I've won a couple. I will take to my grave. But
what are they,
at the end of the day, Sorry?
What, like 4'10"? How big are these guys that you win against?
He's gonna come out.
I fought one that was probably like around my height. That I probably won. That's the one. But I'm not fighting like small guys. Like I keep picking guys I probably shouldn't be fighting.
Nathan Gerby.
I'm not. Yeah, Nathan Gerby, little 5-foot guy. But I'm the guy that like I'm not scared.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out there and throw him down. But
yeah.
I do.
Well, this podcast wouldn't be a podcast without the Heart Title V services. Fun fact of the day: if you need septic or sewer work or any type of construction done, call Ed Hart, 781-999-3883. He paid a lot of money for this ad.
Where's it at?
Just kidding. All right, so last episode we had a fun fact about the Great Emu War versus Australia. It was a war of the Australian military army losing a war against emus, like an ostrich. They just straight up lost. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, go watch the podcast if you want to learn about it.
Yep. Davis Rando, great friend of ours, fan of the show, said that there are emus on our street.
There are.
And he experienced one of them and said it was the most terrifying experience of his life. Going off of that, I'm going to ask both of you. He wants to know if you would rather fight a human-sized squirrel in a cage or 100 normal-sized squirrels. Dretta, we'll start with you.
Human-sized squirrel, dude.
You'd rather fight one?
Yeah, imagine 100 squirrels crawling on your body. I mean, it's one human-sized. It's me versus you, bro.
I gotta admit with Dretta, that's funny.
Me versus you.
You have 100 squirrels, someone's getting you in a place you don't want to get at. So
yeah.
I'd rather try to knock out the big boy.
Do I have a weapon? Because
no, just
even
Oh, he's trying to bite?
Oh, dude.
You said fighting. I thought like there's gonna be some fighting.
He's
rules.
a squirrel, dude. Squirrels bite. They don't fight.
Yeah, but he's not gonna be
All right, then
taller
I'm
than
kicking
me.
in the nuts.
Yeah. All right. That's fair.
Street rules.
So
Absolutely.
next time you run into him, guys, if you run into Davis, you guys have that.
Davis, I'm literally kicking the shit out of a human-sized squirrel. I'll tell you right now.
Thanks for that, Davis. Today's fun fact of the day is from Euronews.com. South Korean scientists have developed new e-tattoos that can monitor health conditions. Silvery butterflies or other designs drawn on the skin using electronic tattoo ink made of metal and carbon can help monitor heart rates and other vital signs. So they can basically check up on your vitals via tattoo.
I'm getting a half sleeve this summer. Maybe I'll look into that.
So what I wanted to ask the people listening and you guys is, what is the weirdest tattoo that you've ever seen? And
one on my leg.
I don't even know what it is.
It's a penguin on an iceberg.
Okay.
I get so many. It's a conversation starter for sure, but all our college roommates got it, and everyone asked why. And to be honest, the reason is because we thought it looked cool, but our buddy could draw them. I lie and say that, like, oh, if you put all the penguins together, we're a flock, and it sounds all cute and stuff, but it's just a penguin.
You regret it
like
or no?
weird? No, oh, hell no. I love my penguin tattoo.
We'll just chew on that then.
Yeah, I saw someone try to like tattoo. I think it was Biggie Smalls on some guy. Bro, it looked like a bubble. It was
Wait, what?
Biggie Smalls. Like someone tried to tattoo Biggie Smalls on somebody, and it just looked so bad. It looked like a cartoon character. His face was like sideways. It was just terrible. It was awful. By the way, that what was that tattoo thing?
Oh, it was like you could scan it to like read somebody's vital signs.
Yeah, everyone out there needs to grow up, get an actual tattoo. Forget about the science shit. All right,
that's the fun fact of the day. Drevy, dude, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks,
I really appreciate it. I think we had a great episode.
Yeah.
And one last time, Derva. Drevy's brand, Instagram, what is it?
Derva HQ Instagram and dervahq.com. And again, thanks, guys, for help promoting that.
Of course.
Thanks for having me on.
We'll be repping it. And thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.